Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy again. This is Dill Talk Sports. I got the University of Wyoming football gear on today to represent my boy Josh Allen, MVP. So, this video is going to be a little bit just quick talk about Josh Allen, MVP. You know, a lot of people is kind of saying he doesn't deserve it, kind of the hatred towards it, and ESPN kind of being the worst fucking organization ever put together. And then we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, and that's going to be a really in-depth breakdown and kind of just my thoughts and opinions on kind of what happened there and how it's going to move forward. So, without further ado, this is Dill Talk Sports. I appreciate you guys very much joining along. So let's get going. So, MVP honors was on what day? Thursday night. And, you know, we saw Josh Allen, Lamar, and them boys and Saquon all fight it out for the MVP. And it ended up going to Josh Allen. And, you know, a lot of people on ESPN and on X and Twitter, same thing, but I like Twitter. We're bagging on it saying, here ass MVP award, you know, pity award, all this bullshit. And that's all well and good, man. And I get it. Like, Lamar had better numbers this year, and I completely agree with that he had better numbers this year. But if you look at last year and MVP and Lamar winning MVP, he was the first quarterback ever to be out of the top 10 in pass yards and pass touchdowns to win MVP. So if you want to say this is a pity MVP for Josh Allen and not bring up Lamar Jackson last year, when probably Josh Allen should have won it last year and Lamar probably should have won it this year, which I can give you that. I can give you that leeway. I see that. But, you know, even on the Lamar train, I'm not sold that Lamar should have won either. I might have. Too bad it's a running back quarterback award, because I might even give it to Saquon this year if Josh Allen didn't win. I think Saquon really turned around the Eagles and kind of gave them that spark that they needed to, that they kind of lost a couple years ago. But you know, he won MVP. You know, if you're looking at the most valuable player, you can't tell me it's not Josh Allen. Realistically. You know, you look at Lamar, you look at the Ravens. They got a good team. You know, Lamar. Of course, you take Lamar off the team, they're gonna go down a little bit. But Derrick Henry's no scrub. Zay Flowers no scrub. You know, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews before the drop. I mean, their defense is good. They have good coach. Harbaugh's been there. You know, he's a proven coach. Todd Monken, all these boys. You know, they're good coaches and they got a good staff. And I think if you take Lamar out of that team and put a backup in, I think they're still probably winning about 10 games. On the low end. And then if you look at the Bills, he got voted the most overrated player at the beginning of the season. Josh Allen did, by his peers, which I think is the most disrespectful thing ever. I think you guys, too many people get fucking so entailed with the dick riding, of you know he doesn't deserve this and all that, but he's not overrated. He is one of the better quarterbacks that we've seen ever. He has to get a Super Bowl, and I feel like he will. I mean, we'll get to that point in a couple minutes when we talk about the Chiefs and the Super Bowl and whatever. But you take Josh Allen off the Bills, that's a 4-win team. I mean, do they have any number one receiver that you would put on your team over your number one receiver? Do you? Keon? No. Matt Collins, as much as I love him, he's a blocker and can make some decent catches. The only one I would give you that, you know, I think would start on a good amount of teams is Shakir. I think Shakir's a bully. Really good player, you know, out of Boise State, another Mountain West boy represent, because Mountain West, the best conference, non-Power 5 conference, we show up. So, yeah, you know, James Cook is a bully too. I like James Cook a lot. I think he's a really good player. But other than that, like Kincaid, man, he's been a miss. You know, Brandon Beane has been pretty good at drafting, but he's been a miss. He's not living up to his potential. He's not nearly as good as he should be. Sorry. So, you know, I'm glad he won MVP because he deserves it. He really does. You know, they should have been in the Super Bowl, but the refs had to cheat them like they usually do, and we'll get to that point more in a second. But the defense, you know, has let Josh Allen down every year. I think I saw a stat a couple days ago that the Bills in every one of their playoff losses is allowing 33-plus points, which is the worst ever. So if you want to blame Josh Allen, you can blame him all you want, but he doesn't play defense and he's not allowing 33 points a game. I mean, look at the Chiefs. All the Chiefs games that won this year, were they allowing any less than what they were doing? I mean, you know, in the Chiefs sense, they've won close games, and I think a lot of it comes down to, I'm not going to only blame the refs on this. They've just been in these situations, and the defense clutched up when they need to. I mean, Spagnuolo, for some reason, doesn't get any offers to be a head coach. I know he's been a head coach before, and it didn't go as well, but a lot of times it's just situations. Same with the NFL, man. I think, people talk about like, oh, the Bills traded the pick to the Chiefs to pick Mahomes, and I'm like, if Mahomes doesn't get drafted to the Chiefs, I don't think he's the Mahomes he is. Same with Tom Brady. Same with Josh Allen. Even I don't think Josh Allen develops into the quarterback he does without the systems in place and the franchise behind him. Another example is Lamar. Jalen Hurts. A lot of these guys. Like look at, and Sam Darnold had a down year at the end of the year, but I think Sam Darnold, got dealt a bad hand when he got drafted to the Jets and he couldn't really show who he was. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. I mean, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He didn't do good in the NFL with the Jets. So a lot of it comes down to situation, man, and coaching in the NFL and even in college. So, congrats to MVP Josh Allen, man. Such a humble dude. And, everyone it seems like you talk to, like I said, I played at YO with Josh Allen, he's just a really good guy. Like what you'd expect. You don't think he's some superstar quarterback in the NFL. Just a down-to-earth human. Really cares about people, takes care of people, does what he says he's going to do. So, love that he shouted out God because God is my witness, God is my hero, and I wouldn't be where I am without God today. His parents, which also I'm extremely grateful for my parents because I wouldn't be where I am without my parents as well. So. I love that. It seems like Haley, his new fiance, is a supportive girl, and it seems like she's pushing to be his best, and she's all about him. I saw an interview with her; she was just talking about him, like with such just awe and beauty into it, and it really made me happy to see. So, shout out Josh Allen, MVP, man. You deserve it, dude. You're the GOAT. Hope you're doing good, man. I hope you're gonna win the Super Bowl next year. Go Bills. And I just really am grateful that I was able to play with you and that you had the opportunity to win the MVP. So, without further ado, we're going to flip the script, kind of like the Eagles did in the Super Bowl. But, so Super Bowl, what was it? Super Bowl 50 what? 54? No, 59, sorry. 59, my bad. Still doing my Roman numerals. So, Super Bowl 59, really surprised me. I thought, I knew the Eagles were a good team. I think the Eagles have always been one of the best teams from top to bottom in the NFL. They've always had a good O-line. A.J. Brown's a beast. Devontae Smith's a beast. Adding Saquon is another good piece. The offensive line's always been good. The defense, after last year taking a step back, they stepped forward again when they got Cooper DeJean and all them. And Fangio's doing a great job. Kellen Moore's doing a great job in the offense. Jalen Hurts and them. So, a lot of people were talking about how bad Sirianni was as a coach all year. They were 2-2, and they're like, oh, let's fire Sirianni and this and that. And I just wasn't there for that, man. I think Sirianni's a lot better coach than people really give him the credit for. Sorry, guys, I got to plug in my fucking laptop. He's he's special. I think he embraces that Philly attitude. I don't think he's actually like that. I think that's just he puts on a show for people to show off who they are, and I love that because I think it's hilarious. It was beautiful to see. They dumped the Gatorade on and him just have straight tears, and he was really sad and passionate about it, and that's what you dream of your whole life. So I love to see that out of Sirianni and out of the Eagles, man, and. Really from start to finish, though, the Eagles just dominated this game. I mean, 40-22 it ended up being, but Chiefs got a couple cheap touchdowns, so it was really 40-0 most of the game, 34-0. So, the Eagles just look like the better team top to bottom, and when the Chiefs don't have the refs in their back pocket, it seems like they get blown out. It's crazy how that works, huh? So, let's start with Patrick Mahomes, man. I mean, he ended up having a decent game at the end. If you didn't actually watch the game, you just look at the stats. 21 for 32, 257, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. But, that's a lot of empty stats. The Eagles knew they won the Super Bowl. They were kind of just, cruising to the finish line. It was over. So, 31 yards in the first half for Mahomes, 2 interceptions, a pick six as well. You can't tell me that's the best quarterback ever, man. I don't know if I'm just that much of a hater, but I just don't see it with him. He's not that good. That middle couple years when he didn't have Matt Nagy as his OC, he was balling. But ever since Matt Nagy, man, he just isn't the same quarterback. And, Tom Brady would never do that shit in the Super Bowl. I know in 5 Super Bowls, Mahomes has 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Is that the best quarterback ever? That's average. He's not averaging 2 touchdowns a game. So I don't want to hear all this shit about Patrick Mahomes, this, that, and the other thing. He fucking is not that good. And he's going to get all the excuses in the world, like his O-line didn't play good, his defense didn't play good, this, that, and the other thing. Like he always does, because it's never his fault. It's always Josh Allen's fault, but never Mahomes' fault. But, they really had a non-existent running game, which I think is on the offense coordinator as well. Like they just kind of got away from it. But they were getting stomped down from the beginning. And the pick six was kind of just the end of it for him. Cooper DeJean, 22-year-old, it was his birthday as well, got a pick six in the Super Bowl. That's a dream, man. And I didn't think a white corner would be cooking the NFL, but shit, I was wrong. He is a bully. But it seems like Xavier Worthy, 8 receptions, 157, 2 touchdowns. It seems like he had the opportunity at the end. A lot of those catches came at the end, a lot of the garbage time. But he's good. I think he's the future with them. And Rashid Rice, when he comes back, that's going to be a good team still. And the Chiefs, they're not done by any means, but they just Mahomes isn't as good as people think he is. I really don't think so. I think there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL that I'd rather have over Mahomes. Straight up. You switch the teams for all of them. You put Joe Burrow on the Chiefs. You put Josh Allen on the Chiefs. You put Lamar on the Chiefs. You put any of these quarterbacks on the Chiefs, and I think they have the same amount of Super Bowls as Mahomes does. So maybe I'm just hating, but I watched the whole game, and he didn't show me anything special, man. I mean, even from start to finish, he doesn't have it. Yeah, he had some great throws at the end in garbage time, but like, cool, man. The Eagles aren't even playing hard, so that's a good win for him. But I want to flip to the other side and really talk about Jalen Hurts. He's been getting talked about all year. He's not that good, this and that. Can they win the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is the weak spot. He can't throw. He can't do this. But Jalen Hurts is that dude, man. And I have a lot of respect for Jalen Hurts. I really love Jalen Hurts' attitude about everything and how he acts and how he carries himself. And, 17 for 22, 221, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. 11 carries, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. So I ended up with 3 touchdowns. Really controlled the game. Didn't make many mistakes. 1 pick, whatever, it happens. But he is a humble king, man, and he knows who he is, and he's present with who he is. And I love that his journey that he had from getting benched at Alabama, or leading him to the national championship game, losing, getting benched in the next national championship game, winning that with Tua taking over. Transferring to Oklahoma, coming into the NFL, people are like, is he going to be an NFL starting quarterback? When he lost to the Chiefs a couple years ago in the Super Bowl, people still talk bad about him. Can he do it? 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 And we see, could he do it? Of course he could do it. He just, again, like I said earlier, it all comes down to situation in the NFL a lot of times. And, he lost Shane Steichen to the Colts, and he kind of took a step back a couple of years. And then he got Kellen Moore, who was a good coach, and he kind of re-accelerated. So we'll see kind of what happens, because Kellen Moore left to go to the Saints head coach for some reason. Don't know why, but we'll kind of see what happens with him and go from there. And but he's just a really humble dude, man. Talks a lot about Christ, how is the Savior, and really well spoken. A lot of people. I had a purpose before people had an opinion. That's one of my favorites. His favorite verse, John 13:7. You may not know it now, but later you understand. Hopefully people understand. Like, just really, really in tune with who he is as a person. In tune with his masculinity, in tune with his journey and his path and God's plan for his life. And I think that's an underrated thing, especially in today's athletes. I think a lot of them want to flex for social media and be this, that, and the other thing. But it just seems like he sits there and thinks who he is and says, this is me, man, and we're going to make it happen. And, I just love, the Eagles' whole team. I'm really happy for them. The fans, good for you guys. They could be a little bit nicer, especially, which is weird, because I went to a Penn State game a couple weeks ago to see SMU get their ass kicked, and man, those fans are nicer than anything in the world. It's like nothing I've ever been to. They were just so appreciative for me being there. Like thanks for coming. We appreciate you coming. I'm like, I'm enemy territory, man. But really grateful. But back to the Eagles' point of view, Saquon, man, another really humble king. From Pennsylvania, love to see him win for the team. AJ Brown, a couple years ago, came out about men's mental health and all that stuff, and asked how he did, and he gave a good, thoughtful answer to this woman and this female reporter, and it's just really good to see a lot of good dudes win events. Of course, Devontae Smith, you never hear about him because that's a good thing. Like he's a baller, but I'm saying just another really good, humble dude. And saw a video this morning actually. He's going through a drive-through, at his old place in Louisiana, and the guy was trying to give it to him for free, and he said, "Nah, man, I pay." And that's something very little, but that just proves the type of guy he is because. As you get richer and richer, you usually get stuff comped for you and more famous, as opposed to the people that actually need it. But he's like, nah, man, I'm just a human. I play a sport for a living. I do good. Here's this. So, God is good, and I see that with the Eagles every day, and I love the preaching that Hurts does and pushes forward, and they just won the game. They really dominated start to finish. They looked like they had a better game plan. They knew exactly how to stop the Chiefs on offense. That defense was dominant. Jalen Carter, Baum, Cooper DeJean, all them boys, they play together and they had the answers for the Chiefs. And, unfortunately, Travis Kelce, I think Travis Kelce might be done. I watched him play and he kind of looked like he's done, man. He looks like he can't really walk, can't really move, can't really run. So, really happy to see the Chiefs, downfall, unfortunately, because fuck them and fuck them cheating ass motherfuckers. It proves what happens when the refs don't give them games and help them stay in games, man. They got dominated by a true better team, and it's funny to see now all the Chiefs fans complaining about the refs. It's like every fucking game you guys get bailed out. You shouldn't even been in that game, and that should have been the Bills. And honestly, going back to Mahomes, going back to Mahomes, man, it's like, I would never think Josh Allen would ever do that. That's the thing about that is Josh Allen would never do that, man. And it happens. Sometimes you have a bad game. Of course, he had a bad game today, but the Chiefs just got beaten. They got beaten by a better team, and the Eagles proved that they're going to be forced to react with. Do I think the Chiefs are done for? Of course not, because of the Chiefs. They'll always come back better, and they got good. They got Andy Reid. They got a good organization. But I think the Eagles, showed that they could be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, again, they lost an offensive coordinator, which is going to be tough. And it's no dynasty. They won one Super Bowl, so we'll see what happens. But they got the team and the infrastructure in place to do it. So really happy for the Eagles. They really proved that they were the better team and one of the better teams all year. I said at the beginning of my Dill Talk Sports videos that the Eagles could be the team that messes it all up in the NFC, and look what happened. I was right. So, what happens. I'm really grateful that I was able to watch it. But my last point that I'm going to say is, bro, the halftime show was one of the worst fucking things I've ever heard in my fucking life. I don't want to hear it about Kendrick Lamar ever again. I am not a Kendrick guy. I've never been a Kendrick guy. I think his music stinks. His last good song was Swimming Pools, however fucking long ago that was. But ever since then, he is the most mid artist ever. People love him for some reason, and that's great and awesome. But he's just so mid, man. His flow's bad. His voice isn't good. I'm not with it. SZA, on the other hand, she is an angel singing because she's got a beautiful voice. So, a lot of the thematics of the show I didn't mind. I kind of enjoyed them, but the music itself was very, very bad. Let's go back to Coldplay, Imagine Dragons, that type of music, country, anything like that, man. I just don't think rap's the right thing to put in a halftime show because I don't think that many people love rap. I think there's better music to put on a halftime show. So, that's kind of the breakdown of the Super Bowl. They just dominated in all facets. It wasn't really much of a game. I wish I could give you more breakdown, but you kind of watched it and saw that it was over from the start. So happy for Nick Sirianni, happy for the Eagles, happy for Jalen Hurts. Humble king, man. And let me leave you all with this. This is one of Jalen Hurts' quotes early on. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And that's the truth, man. You can do anything you set your mind to. It's all up here. Keep pushing forward. Keep believing in yourself. And I appreciate everyone joining along, following along for the journey. We're going to start talking more basketball, hockey, cricket, I don't know, soccer, FIFA, anything to keep the Dill Talk Sports going. But excited for next, we're going to get March Madness going when that gets here. But excited for more college football coming up next year, as well as NFL and, going through the year. So I appreciate you all joining along. I appreciate the sport every single day. Keep believing in yourself. Keep grinding towards your dreams. Build your dynasty, and God bless.